Alright, hey, Hazemig here, and so I'm doing another charge experiment, alright? In a previous video, I checked to see if you could charge Alta Redshift SM with the J-plug adapter with a level 1 EVSE, alright, or 120 volt EVSE, alright, and it worked, alright? For whatever reason, it didn't work with my inverter, so there's some spoilers, okay? But now in this video, we're gonna see if it works with a 220 volt or 240 volt charge. All right, now I had heard that you need a firmware update to get it to charge on a 220 volt outlet. All right, and I don't think the firmware has been updated on this. Okay, but we'll see what happens. Okay, let's give it a whirl. Okay, so here's what's going on here. Okay, I got this J-plug adapter. All right, J1772 receptacle to a 520R. It's a 520 receptacle, right? NEMA 520R. What people typically use these for are to charge like e-bikes. All right, I use it to charge my Sauron Lightbee. All right, that bike right over there. All right, I have a off-board charger that you can just plug into this, and you can basically use a charging station or EVSE as a power outlet, basically. Okay, and so you can charge stuff. Okay, so and then we're going to see if you can charge with 220 volts. So now I'm using a Toyota EVSE here, okay? So this is the EVSE that comes with my Toyota RAV4 Prime, all right, this guy right here. And this can actually do dual voltage, all right? It can do 120 volts and 240 volts. Right now I have it hooked up to a 220 volt outlet. Now to get this to work, all right, I had to build a special cable for it. And I will put a link in at the end of the video to that video, like where I made it. But basically, we're gonna go plug this into a 220 volt outlet, right? And I already have the adapter for it. Okay. Wow, there's another thing we could do. I actually have a 220 volt EVSE right here. This is what I use for my Impulse TT, but that we can maybe do that some other time. I would have to put the bike in the garage because this won't reach to outside. That'll be another test, all right? But anyway, I have this here, all right? This is a 220 volt adapter, basically, all right? And that's why I labeled it 240 volt only, okay? Because you don't want to plug in a 120 volt appliance into that. All right, basically it is a 515R, all right, receptacle that goes to a was it 1430p, all right, plug, all right, I think it's this one right here. All right, now I have to make this, all right, I'll put a link in the description of the video where like I talk about it, all right, I explain it. I use this to charge my RAV4 at with 240 volts, okay, but we're going to try to see if we can use it to charge the Alta Redshift SM. Okay, so we're going to plug it into here first. Alright, this is plugged into the house's power. Okay, it's got power. See? And then we're going to plug it in to the EVSE adapter. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. Okay, I heard a click. So now that is energized. So what this guy does, it sends a pilot signal to the EVSE. It talks to it and say, hey, I'm connected here, can you give me power? And it gives you power. All right, so right now it's energized. All right, so you see the green charge light is on now. Okay, and I will show you how I know it's 220 volts or 240 volts. You're gonna get a multimeter, all right, and you can basically make sure it's on AC. Okay, and then just put the probes on the two blades here. Okay, and there you go. I have 248 volts coming out of this plug now. Okay, it's kind of hard to hold it. Okay, 240, 245, it's fluctuating a whole lot. Okay, also you could put it on the ground and it should Oh, no. Okay, so yeah, another way to check is if you put it one on the ground and one on the blades, I got 120. All right, I should have 120 if I move it to the other one. Okay, it's got 120. So that means 120 plus 120 is 240. Sorry, it's 200. So yeah, there is no, I just showed you proof that there's 240 volts coming out of this. So now we're going to plug this into here and see if it charges. Okay. And then you got to turn it on to initiate the charge. Okay. Okay, it's not working. AC voltage out of range. Sorry, the display is awful on this Redshift, man, and it's really hard for the camera to see it. Oh, it says it's starting. What the heck? Nope. Stop. AC ground. Loss of AC ground. Okay. Something happened. I think the thing disconnected. But anyway, it says the input voltage is out of range. All right, that's what it said. Okay, it says AC voltage out of range. Got it? So that's a no-go. So I think okay, so yeah, so this Alta Redshift that I recently bought has an older firmware. All right, there is supposed to be a newer firmware that you can install on the bike that will allow you to charge with 220 volts, but it's not doing it. Okay, so it's saying it's out of range. It doesn't want to do it. Okay, and it says the ground is messed up. Okay, but I better check and make sure my dryer still works. Okay, so but yeah, that's what we're using. We're using the dryer outlet to try to power it, but as you saw, it doesn't work. I think we need to update the firmware on this, and I don't have the I don't have the computer, and two, I don't have the cable to do it either. So that will be a future project. What would be the benefits of this if I could get this to work is I could charge at public charging stations. All right, all the public charging stations, like say a charge point station, all right, are like 240 volts. All right, they all provide 240 volts. That's how they charge twice as fast as a regular 120 volt outlet. All right, it's got 220 volt hots on it. Okay, basically, so that's how you get double the power coming out of it. Okay, so unfortunately it's a fail. It didn't work. The bike doesn't like it. I'm gonna need to update the firmware on it so you can charge it at 220 volts. I also like to see if it actually charges it faster, because you got double the voltage going in, so potentially you could have double the power going into the bike, right, charging it, and it's perfectly safe for the bike. All right, so that's a bummer, but yeah, that would be nice. All you would have to do is carry this adapter with you, all right, in a backpack, because there's no way to carry stuff on this bike, man. There's no storage on it at all. And you could just take this with you and you could charge at a charging station. The only thing is, yeah, somebody could steal it, because there's no way to lock it. I guess you can make some kind of lanyard for it that you can lock to the bike, I guess. But yeah, there's no lock for it, unfortunately. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately. All right, so yeah, so I guess unfortunately that's a fail. All right, so it wasn't able to charge at 220 volts, but it does connect. All right, we'll have to I'll have to find a way to update the firmware to the newest firmware, and then maybe we will do the experiment again. Okay, but that's what I heard had happened. It'll say AC voltage out of range and it won't charge. All right, and that's what happened. So that means it needs a new firmware. Also, there's another way you can tell that the firmware isn't the newest one, is by when you press the buttons on the dash, you can switch from miles per hour to kilometers. All right, and mine doesn't do that. I know, I already do already. So okay, so that's the results of this experiment vlog. All right, it's a fail. It will not charge with 220 volts because it doesn't have the firmware to support it. All right, here's we go. Hopefully this is an educational and entertaining video. When I get a chance to when I update the firmware on this bike, maybe we can do it. All right, but we'll have to come back and do it again. All right, here's my go.